Hi everybody, welcome back to the farm. First of all, we want to wish everybody out there a happy Pride. This is June, so it's time to celebrate. Also, we've been away for quite a bit, but we're here today getting back into things, wanting to show you how our market garden has really exploded. But over the past few weeks, my parents have been here with us up from Florida, so we've just been trying to use all the extra hands that we can with my dad helping us do a ton of planting. And then also, I was away out of the country in Singapore on a business trip for 10 days and happened to contract COVID while I was there. So that also threw our schedule off because I had to end up extending my stay overseas until I got better. All is well, I'm doing great, we're here. We're so happy that you have come back to check in on us once again and see what's going on. And now it's time to show you what's been happening over the past few weeks. This will be our first time giving a full-on tour of our market garden. We'll pop a picture up on the screen right now of the image that we showed a few months ago, probably at the beginning of the year when we started planting this market garden. It is approximately 1 acre here that's planted out. It contains our flower garden for the cut flowers. It has our pumpkin patch that we just put in within the past week or so, our watermelons that we have planted, and also our vegetable garden. So our plan for the tour is we're going to start kind of on the back end with one of the more recent things that we planted. The pumpkins were the last thing that went in, and then we're just going to kind of work our way back up that hill and then end off on the vegetable section of the garden. So let's go ahead and do that now. Here we are in what I like to call the sweet spot of the garden in terms of a view. This is the northeast corner, and from this vantage point, if Dragon just turns around, you can really see just how expansive the entire garden is and get a full view of all the acre of planting that we've done. From the pumpkin patch here at the bottom, to the watermelon patch, to the vegetable garden, to the cut flower garden. Like, this really kind of gives you that full view of everything that we have going on here in the market garden. And as you can see behind us, we have just kind of our pasture right now that is in all of its glory, but hopefully soon all of this will be cut down and collected for hay. So let's go ahead and start with the market garden tour. Here we are at the bottom of the hill, kind of. The house is back that way, the big barns are that way, and the market garden kind of slopes down this way. And one great thing about that is we've had a lot of rain over the past couple of months. We started planting the first things in this space around Easter weekend, which would have been somewhere around April 15. And over the past couple of months, lots of rain has come and poured down, which has been great for the things that we had planted, but for the things that we didn't have planted, it kind of delayed us a little bit. So we had to kind of get out and be a little strategic about when we were getting things into the ground. Another reason that we went ahead and planted the watermelons and the pumpkins down on this end was because the ground stays a little bit wet down here. So that will be good for them with their development as they grow. Here along the pumpkin patch area, we have Dragon 200 mounds of pumpkins that are planted, somewhere between 18 and 20 different varieties of pumpkins. Everything from those Cinderella pumpkins to those white pumpkins to some of the smaller gourds that are great for decorating. You can see here Dragon is getting in close on some of the leaves of the pumpkins. They are starting to push up. These have only been in the ground for just about 4 days. 4 days only, Dragon says. And so these are doing amazing for such a short amount of time. We had some rain also too overnight. Never enough rain or as much rain as we would like to have, but anytime those skies open up, we are willing to take it because that saves us from having to get out here and make sure that everything is getting wet.
Do you remember how it's planted? What was starting?
I don't remember how these are planted because like I said, there are like 18 different varieties and all these different rows.
We started here with heaviest variety. I forgot, I will look up what the heaviest variety grows up to 100 pounds. So that entire row is that variety, then slowly progressing down with the weight. So this next 2 rows they grow up to 50, 60 pounds. I believe fourth row is up to 40, and majority of the field then is 10 to 20 pound pumpkins. So,
but the way that we planted them also too, we put a single pumpkin seed on each side. The dark colored dirt that you see in the middle of the hole.
let's find the one that has no
Right here, here we go. So the pumpkins are planted, I get out of the shadow here like this. You have a seed on either side and then a hole in the middle that has compost that will provide some nutrients and feed for the pumpkins as they're growing. Occasionally there were, maybe 4 or 5 extra pumpkin seeds, and then you might have a third pumpkin seed there. But as these grow up and those vines start to spread and those huge leaves grow, you won't even be able to see any dirt out here. It's going to be amazing to see just how many pumpkins we end up having. So to all of our friends who are here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, don't forget, add us to the list this year when it's time to go around doing those pumpkin patch visits. So come on out, we got you guys covered.
So rows are 9 feet apart this way, and pumpkins are 4 feet apart between each other. That might be too tight, but this is a testing year. We just wanted to see how well it's going to do.
Yeah, first year, lots to learn this year from how this land grows different things, because it hasn't been worked in probably 20 years in terms of planting and growing food on it. So we will see how it responds, and then also to what the market is like in terms of who's buying what from us here out at the farm, not only our local neighbors but kind of our extended neighbors as well. So while that pumpkin patch contains multiple varieties that are anywhere from 10 pounds and up, we have a patch over here. The half that's off to the right side from where I'm standing has another variety that are about 5 pounds or so. Our smaller pumpkins are planted there, and then the second half of that space is reserved for planting more flowers. Let's head on up now and talk about our watermelon. So Dragon's gonna come up this side. This patch here is all watermelons, but you really get an amazing view of the rows from this vantage point. So we're gonna take you over here. So Dragon is walking down now. You can see the different varieties that we have. Starting here at the base, or at kind of the bottom of the slope, are our Jubilee watermelon. And these are those massive watermelons. And we'll pop a picture of those up on the screen so you can see. Those are the ones that kind of gets everybody's mouth watering at the family picnics and things, right? And these are planted in a similar fashion as the pumpkins are, meaning we have one watermelon seed on either side of a hole, and in that hole it contains compost for the vines to feed on. You can see here, one on each side. And these Jubilees, because they have to grow longer than the rest of the varieties to get a lot bigger, these actually popped up first, so they are growing a little bit longer. But everything that's planted in here, all the watermelons, similar to the pumpkins that popped up in 4 days, these all popped up in less than a week's time. So as we move up the hill here, I don't even remember all the different varieties
Crimson
that we have.
Sweet.
Crimson Sweet we have here. Pop a picture of those up on the screen. What other varieties do we have?
And Sugar Baby.
And Sugar Baby watermelons we have. We don't have any seedless that are planted in here. We had ordered some, didn't get as many as we had intended to order or had actually ordered, and now we can't find the seeds. so the Sugar Babies didn't make it into the field. If we find them, we'll probably still plant some just to see what happens with them. But otherwise, this is going to be our yield for this year. Everything is going great so far. If you notice, you can see these
25 mounds in each row, so there's 50 mounds of each variety, totaling about 150 mounds.
And who knows how many different melons each one is going to produce on those vines.
2 to 3, they say.
Well, 2 to 3. That's that's good. Well, it's all a learning experience for us. So we're just experimenting this year, seeing what happens. One thing you can see, these trenches that are here, we posted on our Instagram page at gardeninggays. We called, what did I call this? Poor man's irrigation system. So what we've done here is gone through, dug a trench right along where all of the crop is, and then you can see water hoses are still sitting here. Just take your water hose, drop it at the end, and turn it on, and the water will just eventually push its way all the way to the end of the row, and there you've watered your plants without having to spend money on putting in a drip irrigation system. That being said, we do plan on putting in a drip irrigation system. You know, things just have to happen as funds become available and as we come across those deals. But our ultimate plan is to use some drip tape to feed everything in the gardens. But again, just kind of testing things out and doing a lot of this work for the first time, just the two of us, trying to be smart about the resources that we have this first year going out.
With this, it definitely helps that your land slopes in the right way. So that end of the field is lower than this end of the field. So water kind of slowly just trickles down the trench that we dug and waters the watermelon along the way. So
now that I've gone through the melons with you and done kind of the back half of the market garden, we're going to take a walk on up and start in on the cut flower section, and Dragon is going to take over from there.
So here we are in our flower portion of our market garden. Our main road is right over here on my right. So it kind of gives us a great exposure that we always wanted. So rows, we have two sections that we designated for our market flower garden. As Kevin mentioned earlier, for this year we planted half of that section with smaller varieties of pumpkins, and this section right here is actually completely planted out with flowers. Kevin also mentioned that rain gave us quite some issues with planting. This soil that we have here, it does hold. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. It holds the moisture well. However, when it rains, it holds the moisture well, so we are not able to work with it for a good 3-4 days until kind of water dries out. So you can see throughout, we started here with Liatris. We can pop up a picture of it. That was the first thing that we planted, actually. So we initially started doing the rows with a row of flowers, row of mulch. But with Kevin working and me being by myself, it was just taking way too long. So if we wanted to do everything perfect, we would not be able to finish half of the stuff that we were able to finish. So we've done the mulching kind of halfway through. We're going to do the mulching as we get to it. But more importantly, everything is planted that we wanted to plant so far. So Liatris is right here. As you can see, it's already kind of starting to send out its flower buds. It has beautiful pink. This is the pink variety, I believe. There's also white variety that we don't have that yet, but it has beautiful pink blooms. I'm really looking forward to those. Next to the Liatris, we have our foxglove patch. They're doing okay. Foxglove, we started these from seeds on our greenhouse, in our grow light setup. They are a bit difficult to start with reason that they need light to germinate. So by the time, since you have to plant them on top of the soil, unlike most of the stuff that you bury into the soil, so they take quite a long time to form the roots. Down on the bottom of this slope, as I mentioned earlier, water kind of was sitting more than I expected and kind of decimated everything here that was at the end. But we'll see. This also section of the flower garden, also we're trying to have all of our perennial stuff, so all of this stuff is going to remain here and hopefully come back in years to come. So next 4 rows of our market flower garden are our dahlias. Unfortunately, they did not germinate as well as I was hoping. That's partially, if not mostly, my fault. When I divided them, I was putting them into peat moss that was actually too dry, so some of the tubers got a bit dried out more than I like them to. So they've been in the ground now probably about 2-3 weeks, if not longer. I believe 3 weeks. So up top here, germination is better, but this middle section here, not so much. So we'll keep an eye on it. Every day we see a new one pop up, but we'll see. Hopefully we can still get at least some dahlias out of this. Next to dahlias is our best performer so far. Kevin, you can walk down at the end of the road so you can actually show. These are our cosmos. We only have one row of cosmos. We can pop up on the screen what was the mix that we bought. So it has several different colors that vary from all white right here to really dark burgundy, pink. Then we have some pink ones. Then we have varieties of those, all of those. But we haven't cut any yet, but they're doing quite well. I've learned they kill this. Pollinators love it, definitely. It's great to see. I've learned that if you plant them about a foot apart, as you can see, they are more sturdier. We still did the little trellis just to hold them in together. They still should grow at least another 2-3 feet as season progresses. So this should hold them in. But so far, I'm really happy how they're performing. Next row and a half, we have snapdragons. Rain again kind of did a number on these for us. It was raining so hard when we were supposed to plant them, so missed a window of about 2 weeks. We planted these inside. They were nice and ready, but we could not plant anything for 2 weeks, and they got root bounded, and some of them actually we lost quite a few. So some of the varieties were very few, but what we have planted looks like it's doing well. They're all budding up, as you can see on them, and getting ready to bloom. We did pinch most of them to encourage branching like this. If you pinch the top, then you will forfeit the blooms for about 2 weeks, but you will encourage the plant to branch out like that, so we'll get more blooms on the other hand. Next row is a variety of few different things. What was the name of this?
That's hibiscus, red hibiscus.
Red hibiscus, yeah, but there's a name for it. We can pop the name on the screen of it. But this hibiscus, it's not blooming hibiscus. It's just for its foliage and for its just beautiful color. It's just has almost maple-like leaves that are this deep burgundy. I really love it. We started this from seeds as well. Next to it, this is amaranth, right, Kevin?
Yep, hot biscuits amaranth.
This one also set in the trays way too long, but it's looking pretty. A lot of things need to be, now we had to do so much planting, so weeding was put aside. Now for the next couple of weeks we're gonna spend most of the time weeding, since most of the planting is already done. Next row, we have 3 varieties of Black Eyed Susans. They're doing quite well. We started also these from seeds. Some of them are also starting to bud up, and we should have blooms in the next couple days, latest week. This one is much further along. You can see the yellow. We'll be looking forward to those. Then we have right behind Kevin there, next, I believe 7 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So next 7 rows are zinnias. First 2 are Queen Lime series. 2 varieties that we were able to get when we were purchasing the seeds. And then 5 rows, we have next 5 rows, we have 2 varieties in each row. So I'm really looking forward to see this blooming with zinnias, full of zinnias. It doesn't look like much now because they are just about 10 days in. You can see they're about 2 inches tall, but I think they're gonna just explode in the next couple of weeks, hopefully with proper moisture. Gonna do some weeding. We only fertilizer, we just kind of dusted off. You can see on top of the soil, we dusted off with the fertilizer, with compost that we have on hand, but everything has been doing quite well in that compost. All right, down towards the end of this garden, we have a row and a half of gladiolas. We have 600 gladiolas planted. We planted them about a week ago now. Kevin's dad and I planted them the day that Kevin came back from Singapore. They are looking really good. We still might need to build some kind of similar to Cosmos, just still lower little trellis, not the trellis, but
Support system or something.
I guess, enclosure for them just to help them stay. This is quite a windy area, but they are looking really, really good. Next to them here is, Kevin, what was that name? Amini?
Yes.
Amini. We have 2 or 3 different varieties of Amini here. That's a filler flower. We just planted this, like I said, not even a week ago. So they should be popping up anytime. Next to Rose, we have PROCUT sunflowers, 2 varieties in each row. We have 4 varieties that we've chosen to grow for this year. So we just planted these about 2 days ago. And the last row here, we have filler flowers, mostly greens. We have some basil and baby's breath. And what was the last thing coming down at the end?
Baby's breath is at the end.
And there was something else. But this is kind of a filler section. So the other half of the next section over there, every 2 weeks we're going to plant 2 rows of sunflowers, and anything that needs to be planted, replanted again, they will be planted in that section over there. It's really, I know it doesn't look like much, but this is just for us. The other day when I finished planting this, it was so rewarding just to see that, you know, we don't have a tractor, we don't have most of the equipment that we need, but it's just great to see that we were still able to do, with the minimal equipment, we're still able to accomplish what we accomplished so far. But most proud of that we are, and that you can see, it's definitely our vegetable garden. I don't know if you've seen the videos of us planting these tomatoes and peppers and everything else. We did most of those videos, but we have 2 rows of tomatoes. We planted these March 10th inside, and we planted, what was it, May 1st, right? I think it was May 1st. Yeah, it was May 1st that we planted. So May 1st, so this has been a month now that they've been in the ground, but you can see there's tomatoes already on. Some of them are getting that ruby color, like they're probably in about 2 weeks we'll definitely have some tomatoes for picking. I'm really excited about that. We were trying out the Florida weave system with this wooden sticks. It's kind of hard to get it extremely tight. You would probably need T-posts to get them a lot tighter. We couldn't invest in T-posts for this year, so we actually at the end decided to do individual sticks on each tomato. We also using the weave trellis to tie the tomatoes to it as well. So we are back on. We had some camera issues. It was way too hot outside. We tried several times. Cameras kept overheating. So now that we have a little overcast, we're gonna try to do this video again. I was mentioning how I'm quite happy with progress of tomatoes so far for just about 5 weeks, how much they've grown. We also, I forgot to mention that we added a marigold between each plant for pest control. People say that adding a marigold have quite a unique scent to them. Some are blooming already, quite a unique scent to them that, and most of the garden pests don't like them. So we added them here and added them in the next row where the peppers are. So let's take a look at the peppers. We also have 2 rows of peppers. This full row is a roasting pepper, Serbian pepper or Ivarski pepper. We already have, I believe I saw some peppers setting. I cannot wait. This is again about 2 weeks. There's another one right up here. There's a new bloom there. They're slowly taking off. You can see the stalk is quite strong. We're also doing the Florida weave here. I think this should work well for the peppers because peppers just need a little bit of support. They don't need a whole lot of support. Just the strong winds and heavy rains sometimes can break them down. So 2 rows of peppers, whole row Ivarski, and this is a mix of bell peppers, jalapenos, and some couple of different other varieties, but they are all doing quite well. We dug the trench, watering trench here as well, so they all seem to be doing quite well. Blooming and just enjoying this heat. So next row up, this is one of Kevin's favorites, okra. We have a whole row of okra. We direct seeded these. They popped up fairly quick and they're slowly starting to take off as well. They're enjoying the heat. Moving over to the next row, these are our green beans. We had some pest issue. I'm not quite sure what's eating. I can't find any bugs on them, but we had the first couple of leaves, something was just eating them up. But newer leaves looks like they're doing better, so hopefully plant can bounce back and push through this, whatever is eating it. Next row up, this is just a tryout. These are artichokes that we planted from seeds indoor. They were planted a little bit late, so they were a little bit root bounded, but finally they're pushing some new leaves and adding some size. We have how many? 6 of them. We have 6 artichokes. Then we have 2 different varieties of zucchinis here, zucchini squash, and rest of that row we just planted that yesterday or day before. That is eggplant that we started from seeds. Had to start them twice because one of the cold fronts that we had in April kind of killed the first crop of eggplants that I planted inside and left them in the greenhouse. But they are looking good. They'll be fine. They're starting to put on some nice size. These are 3 rows here. We have a sweet corn that's doing quite well as well. It's only been about 10 days that it's been in. Next to sweet corn right here, we have some more of the vine crops. We have some melons, a couple of varieties of melons, honeydew, right?
Honeydew, yeah.
Yeah, some honeydews on the first half and the second half down here. We have some squashes, butternut squash and some winter squash right down here. I believe there's a couple of mounds of each. They're slowly starting to take off, some better than the others. Back of the garden, what was planted the earliest, these are our potatoes. They're doing quite well. Surprisingly, I still do, as you can see. I haven't done it today. The potato beetles are quite aggressive on it. I was quite surprised for the land that has not been worked in over 20 years, that soon as these potatoes popped out of the ground, as soon as they were that big, potato beetles were already on it. I'm not sure why and how, but we tried the tenacious earth, we tried We tried neem oil, but best thing that works is just shaking them off daily, going through them, and kind of keeping their numbers down. But most of the potatoes already went through their blooms, which means they started setting off. Once potatoes start blooming, that means they're setting off the potatoes down in the ground. But we're really happy with how they look above the ground. So we have another about month and a half to go, so we can see what's going on in the ground. Next up are the onions. Onions are doing quite well. I added a layer of grass clippings to them. In the beginning I added a little bit too thickly, so I had to help out some more to push through. But they're taking off nicely and they're starting to thicken up. Really excited about those. Next 5 rows we have our cole crops, and these have been blessings for our rabbits. Our rabbits really enjoying our kale. Next year I'm definitely going to plant more kale than cabbage or this fall, because our rabbits just enjoy the kale. We harvest it pretty much weekly. I take it down, I can even show you, I take it down to pretty much this when I harvest it for rabbits, and it bounces right back within a couple of days. It's right back to what I just harvested. Same thing with cabbage. Surprisingly, and it's a good thing, we have some cabbage looper damage, but it has not been as bad as we had some issues in Maryland when we dealt with it. Last row here, this is another sweet corn that we planted. We planted it beginning of mid-April. He had some struggles, not sure why, but it's finally kind of starting to take off. So we'll see how it does. It's quite all over. You have bottom portion, it's quite still small. This middle portion is doing quite well. It's been watered, we added fertilizer to it, but I mean compost, not fertilizer, compost to it. So we'll see how it does. So we might need to change the spot for next year. So thank you for keeping up with us. I know we get long-winded when we comes around these garden tours, but you know, we are quite happy and excited with progress and what we see so far. We just want to share that with you.
Yeah, we again appreciate everybody kind of waiting around and coming back to the channel as life has been happening to us here on the farm. But you can see, even though you might not have been seeing us as regularly in the past couple of weeks, we've definitely been busy. And now that we kind of have everything in the ground and some of those big hurdles overcome, we hope to be visiting with you guys a little bit more frequently here in the future for the rest of the summer.
Thanks again for following along, and see you guys in the next video.
See you soon. Stay safe out there.